Welcome back. You're watching NewsX with me, Devika Devar, and our focus right now is the UDF's decision, the Congress-led UDF's decision to pick V.D. Satheesan as the next Chief Minister of Kerala after 10 days of hectic parleys and discussions and lobbying. This was the decision to name him as Chief Minister, viewers, was preceded by strong lobbying days of hectic debates within the camp that won. It is no secret that he was openly backed by the Indian Union Muslim League, a Congress ally in Kerala with 22 seats in the UDF. The fact that he was picked over K.C. Venugopal with the support of 40 out of 63 Congress MLAs, and he's also a strong Gandhi loyalist, as well as Ramesh Chennithala, one of the party's oldest loyalists, may have come as a surprise to many, but not to the veteran politicians as well as journalists. Yes, V.D. Satheesan has been connected to the Congress from the grassroots, but the IUML pressure is something that critics say cannot be denied. The BJP has been early to point this out, saying that the Muslim League is Congress's new high command and that the Kerala government will now be remote controlled by them. Whether that's true or not, we'll take that conversation forward with our guests, Kalyani Shankar, senior journalist, Vinita Hariharan, political analyst, and Joyita Basu, editor of the Sunday Guardian, with us. But before we start the discussion, viewers, it's taken 11 days, but the decision, like I said, has finally come. Six-time MLA and former leader of opposition in the Kerala Assembly, V.D. Satheesan is the new Chief Minister of the state. Let's first look at who he is before we open this debate.
The political landscape of Kerala has undergone a seismic shift after 10 days of intense deliberations that saw the national leadership of the Indian National Congress weighing its options between seasoned veterans and fresh perspectives. The white smoke has finally emerged from Indira Bhavan. V.D. Satheesan, the six-time MLA from Paravur and the man who spent the last 5 years redefining the role of the opposition, has been named the Chief Minister designate. His elevation is not merely a change in personnel. It is the dawn of a new era for the United Democratic Front and a testament to the power of intellectual politics in a state that prides itself on high literacy and political consciousness. Born on 31st May 1964 in the quiet village of Nettur in Ernakulam district, Vadasari Damodaran Satheesan was never a politician by accident. His trajectory was charted through the rigors of academia and the heat of student activism. Unlike the firebrand orators of old who relied on decibels to make a point, Satheesan built his foundation on a formidable educational pedigree. With a master's in social work and an LLM in law, he spent nearly a decade practicing in the Kerala High Court. This legal background instilled in him a meticulousness that would eventually become his greatest weapon in the state legislative assembly. An ability to dissect policy with the precision of a surgeon and the foresight of a constitutional expert. Satheesan's entry into politics began with the Kerala Students' Union, the KSU, which is the students' wing of the Congress. He rose through the ranks to become the chairman of Mahatma Gandhi University Union in the mid-80s, eventually catching the eye of the national leadership and serving as a secretary for the NSUI. However, his journey to the big league was not without its hurdles. He tasted defeat in his first electoral outing in Paravur in 1996, a setback that many say grounded him. He returned in 2001 with a deeper understanding of his constituency, winning the seat and holding it with increasing margins for 25 consecutive years. In the 2026 Assembly elections, his victory was a foregone conclusion. He secured nearly 80,000 votes, proving that his focus on local development was as sharp as his national political aspirations. The true making of the man we see today occurred in the aftermath of the 2021 elections, when the Congress faced a historic second consecutive defeat. The High Command made the radical decision to bypass the A and I factions that had dominated Kerala Congress for decades. They chose Satheesan as the leader of the opposition. It was a gamble that paid off. Over the next 5 years, Satishan transformed the UDF from a demoralized coalition into a sharp, data-driven fighting machine. He famously moved away from strike politics and bunds, choosing instead to corner the government on the floor of the House with documents, RTI findings, and legal precedents. Whether it was the controversy surrounding the Silver Line semi-high-speed rail project or the complexities of state debt, Satishan was always the most prepared man in the room. His leadership style has been described as inclusive yet firm. During the 2026 campaign, he was the glue that held the various UDF constituents together, successfully managing the aspirations of the IUML and other smaller parties while keeping the Congress's own internal divisions at bay. His vision for Kerala, as articulated during the campaign, focuses on green growth, a balance between large-scale infrastructure and the fragile ecology of the Western Ghats. This stance won him significant support among the youth and the environmentally conscious middle-class segments that had previously drifted towards the left. On a personal level, Satishan remains an outlier in the often chaotic world of Indian politics. He is known for his stoic demeanor and a personal life that is shielded from the limelight. Married to R. Lakshmi Priya and a father to their daughter Unni Maya, he is an avid reader who reportedly carries a book even during the busiest campaign trails. This clean image, free from the taints of corruption or scandal that have plagued many of his predecessors, was the decisive factor that allowed the Congress High Command to overlook more senior leaders in his favor. As V.D. Satishan prepares to take the oath of office, he inherits a state at crossroads. Kerala faces mounting fiscal challenges and a shifting demographic profile. However, for the thousands of supporters gathered outside the Secretariat today, there is a sense of renewed hope. They see in him a man who is not just a politician but a scholar-statesman, a man who understands that in the modern era, governance is not about who shouts the loudest but about who has the best plan. The Paravur model is now ready to be tested on the state stage, and all eyes are on the man who proved that intellectual rigor and grassroots popularity can indeed go hand in hand.
On that note, let me bring in Ms. Kalyani Shankar into the conversation. Kalyani ji, I'd like to understand from you, ma'am, your thoughts on this particular decision of the Congress and the criticism that's coming its way.
Well, Congress has taken too long, 10 days, 11 days, today's 11th day. It is quite long for the party with the absolute majority to zero in on any one person. They had problem of plenty because there are at least 3 important leaders who are staking their claim in that. And among the High Command, the Gandhi family, it seems that Rahul Gandhi was in favor of K.C. Venugopal, and then Priyanka Gandhi was talking about Satishan, and Sonia Gandhi was favorable to Ramesh Cheditala because he had worked with her. That could be one reason. So in this time, all 3 are very weighty candidates, and pick one must have been quite difficult for them. And also, the Satishan has got Venugopal might have got 40 MLAs because he distributed the tickets in Kerala. But then Satishan has got the, from the Muslim League, and then from the other, he was popular among the people, and then because he had really nurtured the Congress the past 5 years as the leader of the opposition, and then he managed to take everybody along. So there are other qualities which, and he's experienced, he has grown from the NSUI to this level. So he's got all the other points which are needed. So therefore, they must have picked him. And as for Venugopal, everybody knows he's Rahul Gandhi's right-hand man, and he is not even an MLA. And at that time, I remember when the Congress party, after having a high-level meeting, has decided that no MP will go to Kerala. Nobody will be given a ticket also. So that these are the 2 things, but they had stated. But now the first thing was, soon after the election results, Venugopal is one of the candidates. So this is something, which happens in the Congress party all the time, and where whoever you are close to, then they sort of uh, bad for you. And in any case, that's one reason, everybody in the party knows about Venugopal's closeness with Rahul Gandhi. And he was one of the important persons in Delhi National Congress here, Indian National Congress. And so that was also one of the reasons nobody could say no to him. But still, ultimately, the Gandhi family must have decided on Priyanka's suggestion, and then now Satishan has become the chief minister, and he will run the government properly, I feel, and also he's already promised a new era for Kerala. So he's been talking about things which he would do, and he will not listen to anybody, he will not agree to anybody, making money, all those usual things which chief ministers say. He had already said all that. So from now, where he is taking and his cabinet formation, who would become his? See, already Ramesh Chennithala said he will not be a cabinet minister under Satishan. Venugopal is out anyway; he's not there. So therefore, who will be the cabinet members? There are quite a lot of people in the Congress also, and then of course Muslim League also will get some. IUML will also get one or two posts because they are about 32, I think. So it's going to be a difficult task for Satishan to make his cabinet list, and then from then on you go along with the rest of the thing, and then of course finding some common link with Prime Minister Modi, because one has to get the money
Yes.
for all the programs which Congress has announced. And these are the immediate challenges for him. And I hope he'll be able to do well, and good luck to him.
All right, Joyita, bringing you in. Joyita, how do you read some of the reports that then came in of posters being put up in Wayanad saying that Wayanad could become the next Amethi if the wrong decision was taken? Do you think that the Congress did buckle under pressure from the IUML despite getting a very clear majority, or it's their right as a party that's won the elections?
Well, it goes without saying, I mean, none of this would have happened if, as my previous panelist said, if Congress had not delayed the decision by, I think, 11 days or more than that, perhaps. When every other state got a government and they got started working, Congress announces it. Chief Minister today, in fact, fourth the results, exactly 10 days later. But I don't believe in this, this AIMUL proposing, wanting him, and that is why they selected him. I think it was not just the AIMUL, but there was a push from the workers there, the MLAs there. They wanted Satishan as chief minister. But the very fact that Venugopal wanted to be chief minister, and the very fact that Venugopal's name was in the contention was because, from whatever we are hearing, Venugopal wanted to be the chief minister. But why? The fact of the matter is that he is an MP. I mean, then the thing is that, then what is the point of all these people fighting the election and winning, and then to select an MP to become a chief minister? It is extremely demoralizing for the cadre of any party. So anyway, from that particular angle, Venugopal's name was anyway should have been deleted. But the very fact that his name was constantly coming up, so I think that itself gives a suggestion of some kind of, backroom maneuvers that were happening. Perhaps Mr. Venugopal himself was trying to do that, to become the chief minister. But I think it's good that he did not, and it's but natural. The leader of the opposition should become the chief minister. It has happened in Bengal. It has, that is how, when there is a change of government, that is how it mostly happens. Unless there are, and the other name in contention was of Ramesh Chennithala. But then you see Satishan and Chennithala, there is a transition in terms of age also. So I think Chennithala is more senior. So this is I would say, the new generation of the Congress leadership coming up in Kerala, and rightfully so. And Mr. Venugopal, if he was so keen to become chief minister, he should have been, he should have fought the election, the MLA election, given up his Lok Sabha, given up his seat in Parliament.
All right, let me leave the last word then with Vanitha Hariharan. Vanitha Hariharan, your take on what's happening in Kerala, the fact that the decision was delayed, but at the same time, I mean, the BJP also took quite some time as far as the Delhi CM announcement was concerned. So why is it that the Congress party, they're asking, why should we be attacked if we're taking some time to announce who really should be the next rightful chief minister of Kerala when you have 3 candidates who are vying for the position?
Good evening. The comparison with the Delhi CM, selection and this is a completely different story altogether. Delhi CM delay, well, there was a reason to it. There was a crisis at the Kumbh Mela that was going on, and we wanted that to proceed, and only then the decision could be taken. So there was a concrete reason for the delay. It was not because of this factionalism that was displayed, over the last 10 to 11 days. The people of Kerala were hung in suspense. And I echo my fellow panelists' views about how all of this has panned out over the last 11 days. What Kerala needs is immediate governance. There's a lot of issues that are pending in the state. The state is mounting under a huge debt pressure. There's a drug menace that is haunting the youth of Kerala. There is unemployment staring at the face of the youth. So all of this needs immediate attention. What we've lost is 11 days of good governance in Kerala. And the Congress High Command, always playing a role in selection of local leaders and selection of state leaders, when the verdict was already so clear. The mandate of the people was clear that it would be V.D. Satheesh, because a natural choice as a leader of the opposition to become the chief ministerial candidate. Was it fair to put him under so much of, not only him, the entire, population of Kerala. I speak on behalf of the population of Kerala, and I am one of the, people who stay in Kerala and have witnessed this uncertainty that's going on. Even the class 10 exam results could not be announced for the lack of education minister in place. Now there's so much of debate and factionalism and lobbying displayed. This reminds us of the pre-2014 days that India was subject to. The governance was so delayed in every aspect. There was a delay in decision making. That is what was displayed the last 10 days. I wonder what he's going to do in the coming 5 years. I hope Kerala gets a stable, decisive government. That's what is needed after this entire, the loss of the treasury has been emptied by the incumbent government, by the left government, and the Congress has a huge challenge to do in Kerala and rectifying all of that. How are they going to do it with so many pulls and pressures within themselves itself? For every now, the cabinet ministers have to be selected. How are they going to select that? Are they going to ask Rahul Gandhi for every cabinet minister that's going to be decided? That's something that we have to wait and watch. And I hope they don't take another 10 to 11 days to decide his team. So I hope he delivers what he talks. In any case, he's the verdict, and the verdict is clear now. And we wish Satheesh all the best to give us a stable government in Kerala.
Right, absolutely. On that note, I thank all of our guests for joining us on the broadcast.